What caused the smoke?
Well, there was grease in the bottom, it caught on this vapor light, and it didn't, I says, I gotta tell her, what you do is, you don't let that drop down on the other pies and stuff like that. You get another container, like a bigger.
Under it,
like,
yeah.
That's a good, like, then you put that pie in that, and then you catch the grease and stuff.
Thank you again.
You're very welcome.
All the smoke alarms went off.
Oh, yeah,
So I told her to bring it down and speak with the supervisor.
yeah, that's fine. So, yeah.
I didn't know if that was a position or if you wanted to help her.
Yeah. I'm not surprised, but
Why? I thought he was comfortable in that
he's
position.
doing both. He's working almost full time between both. Like the product, you know, crazy. He was in the product like all fucking night. He's just like, I can't do both. I can't. I know. He did it the right way too, because he was first. You know, just like living in my box or. Mhm.
How was California?
Sunny.
Huh?
It was sunny.
Funny. Busy though, huh?
Yes, very busy.
Go to Eagle LA International Airport,
Go back to it.
International Airport, not LA International
LA,
Airport.
yeah.
Probably singing that song, wouldn't it?
Oh, yeah, perfect. Do it.
You got, sure.
Yeah, it was.
You have the same language as I do? On that?
Yeah, I think so. Should be in your,
I don't think his father-in-law is doing much anymore.
you can take that. You can take
Oh,
that.
I got it.
You got it.
Yep.
And this has been helping him a lot. So, like John knows. This place should be a battle on that one. Yeah. Hey, Nick, after we do the introduction, you don't have to stay for the rest of the meeting. Just so you know.
Oh, 3 years. You're going 3 years? Goes fast, doesn't it? The older you get, the faster it goes.
Goes a lot faster.
It goes a lot faster than when I was working.
I find it, cause I look and I say,
So
Jesus,
how'd that boat turn over anyway?
prices already, yeah.
How'd that boat turn over anyway, the Marine
Just
Patrol boat?
How did it turn over?
Yeah.
I'm telling you, that could have been a double fatal with those officers. You're talking about the one that got
Yeah.
hit, and then, well,
Pretty soon I'll be roasting the
they
turkey.
think
Right.
they threw a line into it, to foul it. So that line is probably attached to the, and I'm just surmised, I didn't
Yeah.
talk to any of the guys, but typically when they put that line in the water, it would have been floated with 2 floats on it to try to follow the props.
Yeah.
Based on the size of the boat, probably a dual prop. If they only followed one prop,
Oh, it's gonna,
then it would cause the thing to arc. And then it just, from the sounds of it, ran right in the back of them, and being a big enough boat, it just pushed it down and then it flooded. But
Just, I mean,
they are so lucky.
those boats, the Marine Patrol boats they're like ocean-going boats.
Oh, yeah.
They're
Oh,
tough.
I mean, the one that they had had a twin screw on the back, so it's one of the bigger ones that they have. It's probably a 9-meter boat, so what's that? Over close to 40 feet long.
Yeah. Wow.
The ironic thing, this is a totally, just coincidental. The officer that was on that boat, Dave Jones, was worked for us for a number of years, owned the boat that was involved.
No way. Oh, wow.
He owned that boat, and he had sold it, and I don't know if it changed, how many hands it had changed, or how many ownerships it had gone
That's
through,
crazy.
but that was a boat that he at one point
You
owned.
probably should have treated it nicer because it attacked him.
I don't know, I think I would have gone out and bought a lottery ticket after that one, because they are so lucky that that wasn't a double fail.
Yeah. Because they were trapped underneath it, right?
Yeah, that's what I understand.
Wow. Crazy.
We're ready? Now being 3 o'clock, we can call the October 26th meeting of the Laconia Police Commission to order. Would you please rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag
Of the
United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Let the minutes show that recording secretary, executive assistant Lori Marsh is present. Roll call, Commissioner Davis,
Here.
Commissioner Mello.
Here.
Commissioner Wooding is here. I'd like to recognize Chief Canfield sitting at the table. We have a quorum, and then we will proceed with the commission meeting. Personnel matters. Chief.
So I'd like to introduce come on up, Nick. I'd like to introduce our new assistant prosecutor, Nicholas Zazi. He is a resident of Northfield, New Hampshire, where he lives with his wife Sunny and their 2-year-old daughter Bella. He grew up in the Hudson Valley region of New York State, near West Point. Nick's interest in criminal justice began first in 2011 when he was studying at a local community college in New York. After obtaining his associate's degree, Nick spent the remainder of his college years in Baltimore, Maryland, studying international studies at Johns Hopkins University. There, Nick developed an interest in political science and began studying Mandarin Chinese. After graduating with his undergraduate degree in 2015, Nick spent the next 3 years living in Shanghai, China, where he worked as an education consultant, helping Chinese high school students that wish to attend college in the U.S. In doing so, he guided them through the application process, provided general career and academic advice, and taught writing and U.S. culture classes. After helping many students achieve their educational goals, Nick set his sights on continuing his education as well. In 2018, Nick returned to the U.S. to attend law school at Cornell Law. In law school, Nick focused much of his coursework on areas such as criminal law and tax law, and participated in clinical work with the New York State Attorney General's office in Syracuse, and worked as a summer associate at the firm Wheel, Gottschall, and Mangjus. After graduating law school, Nick sought many opportunities to quickly gain substantive legal experience through a judicial clerkship. With this in mind, Nick became a judicial law clerk for the Belknap County Superior Court, serving a 2-year term under both the Honorable Elizabeth Leonard and James O'Neill III. Now Nick is excited to join the Laconia Police Department as assistant prosecutor to utilize his experience and continue to grow as an attorney. So we are very happy to have Nick join us.
Nice.
And, I think Jim Sawyer is as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and I'm very happy to be here.
Glad to meet you.
Welcome to the city.
Thank you.
Feel free to approach and
Yeah.
shake hands.
Welcome aboard, glad to have you.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Thank you very much.
Nick, why don't you stand back there with the commissioners, we'll get a picture of them,
Oh,
Oh,
great.
boy.
remember this by. Is that all right, sirs? All right.
Awesome, great. Thank you very much.
Make sure you get a copy of that.
Thank you, Nick.
Take care.
See you there, alrighty.
Interesting background.
Very interesting, and,
Really?
you know, the first round of interviews that we did, we didn't get many applicants. I think we had one applicant that we chose to interview, of which we chose not to hire, and certainly the second round of interviews, we produced 2 very qualified candidates, and Nick came out on top, so we're very, very happy to have him.
Nice.
It'll take a significant workload off of Jim's office.
Good. Moving on to commendations and awards. Chief Canfield,
Nothing?
resignations and retirement. Chief Canfield.
We do have 2. Officer Joe Marquis retired the beginning of the month. He retired and is moving to, or actually has already moved to Florida to join his family down there. And Patrol Officer Anna Croto has resigned to spend more quality time with her family. She's taken a job with New Hampshire Police Standards and Training to allow her a better schedule. So she's got some young kids, and certainly that was a decision for her and her family. So it's sad to see both leave, but certainly understand.
When officers leave, do you do an interview or kind of a final?
I do. I meet with each one
Overview.
before they leave.
Yeah.
Yep.
Promotions and classification changes.
Nothing?
Command staff reports, support division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been busy, as usual, working on a number of different, either new grant applications or grant maintenance. These grants, a lot of these federal grants are very labor-intensive, and not only they mention the grant application process, but once a grant is accepted, the follow-up and maintenance work on them until the grant is concluded is very significant. So they've been working on that. They're still working on the implementation of the Improvada software, which is a multi-factor authentication software to improve our computer security systems. I think they've got it stabilized and are working with the company to make it fully integrated. As such, they're also working on the implementation of First Arrivin, which is a forward-thinking notification system within the police department, and a way to share accolades about officers and give employee feedback in a public, positive manner. That's all I have for support.
Moving on, the operations division, Chief Canfield.
So they've been busy. Of course, being shorthanded makes it even busier. But they've been working on the winter patrol schedule, which is being finalized and should be out soon, believe it or not. Pumpkin Fest operational plan is in effect, and that will happen this weekend. Fortunately, it looks like we'll have good weather, so we'll be, we have a few officers assigned there. Of course, the events that we saw last night in Lewiston have a little bit of effect on our security for that, but we are working to adapt that on the fly. the e-bikes that we got a grant from the county ARPA funds for, as well as a donation from the Wild Trail Association. We have taken receipt of those. Bike officers have been trained on them, and they are fully operational. So, in fact, we had a couple officers out on them yesterday. So we'll continue to use those to patrol the downtown area and the Wild Trail as long as the weather allows.
And the status of hirings?
We currently have a couple people in backgrounds. Hopefully be presenting something to you, or at least one candidate for you next month for consideration of hire.
Moving on to commission action. You've all received a copy of the minutes of the previous meeting. Any comments or questions?
Make a motion, we accept the minutes as written.
Is there a second?
So moved. Second, I mean,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, on a motion made by Commissioner Mello, was seconded by Commissioner Davis, passes unanimously. The August 23rd minutes were accepted as distributed. Moving on to out-of-state schools. Chief Canfield?
I have a request for Captain Michael Finogle to attend the Use of Force Summit in Connecticut. This is an out-of-state school. The summit is being conducted by Joseph Daigle, who is a very well-known, he's a former Connecticut State Trooper for 10 years. He's an attorney, and he runs a law firm that they're absolute experts in use of force. In fact, we use him as a consultant on some of our use of force policies. So he conducts a summit every year. I know we've sent people to this in the past. It's in Connecticut. Certainly very beneficial. Total cost of sending him to that school is $1,429.80. I'm looking for commission approval.
Any discussion? Hearing none?
make a motion we approve, summit for Captain Finogle.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Motion made by Commissioner Davis, seconded by Commissioner Mello, passes unanimously. The out-of-state school for Captain Finogle has been approved. Review of monthly activity reports. Department monthly highlights, Chief Canfield.
So for the month of September, we responded to a total of 2,185 calls for service, conducted 118 park walk and talks, 321 extra patrol requests, 18 community policing events, investigated 351 criminal offenses, clearing 195 of those cases by arrest, of which 103 were physical custody arrests. Made one DWI arrest, 25 people were taken into custody for protective custody. We responded to a total of 20 domestic disturbance calls, 66 other disturbance calls, 5 suicidal subjects, investigated 7 violation of restraining orders, and volunteer hours for department members was 28 hours for the month, and an additional 8 hours of volunteer time from the Victim Services Unit.
Questions, comments? Moving on to budget reports.
I think we missed the criminal investigative unit.
Oh, I'm sorry, yes.
For the month of September, they were assigned 26 new initial cases, conducted 17 follow-ups on other cases, made 3 felony arrests, 14 felony charges, made 12 misdemeanor arrests, brought forward 8 misdemeanor charges, executed 5 search warrants, cleared 1 case exceptionally, conducted 24 sex offender registrations, 4 cell phone extractions, 5 background investigations, 1 knock and talk, 2 field interviews, 4 drug intel sheets. They covered 41 and a half hours of patrol shifts. All detectives are now assigned 1 day a month to work uniform patrol. This was designed to supplement, or at least help supplement some of the lack of personnel in patrol right now. Conducted 4 polygraphic exams, 80 and a half hours of training, 3 community presentations, and they recovered $1,400 in recovered property. In addition to that, they did 68 body-worn camera redactions, 21 prosecutorial assists, and 5 TransUnion checks were conducted.
Comments or questions?
What's a TransUnion check?
It's a, typically they're used for felony investigations, but it's a way of cross-checking someone's background, essentially, through a service that's provided.
Now to the budget reports.
We are currently 25% of the way through the year. Our budget is looking good. If you look, our overtime budget is relatively high. We're 89% spent. Just keep in mind that our overtime line item was cut in half last year to $70,000 from $150,000, which was funded at the previous year. So that is why that number is so high. It's in line with other years, the actual money spent, but the percentage is high just because the line item was reduced significantly in our budget last year.
Questions, comments? Moving on to monthly traffic statistics. Chief Canfield.
We issued a total of 10 parking tickets for the month of September, investigated 37 motor vehicle accidents, 12 of which were with injury. We had no fatal accidents for the month. Number one cause, accident by breakdown, was parked motor vehicles, contributed to 8 of those crashes. And for the month of September, we conducted a total of 493 motor vehicle stops, issued 23 motor vehicle summonses, and 429 written warnings.
Comments or questions? Moving on to monthly fleet report. Chief Canfield.
Currently, we're still waiting on equipment for the new cars that were required with this budget. There's a holdup with the lighting company. I hope to get them here in the next month. Other than that, the cars are outfitted and ready to go, so as soon as the lights come in, they'll be outfitted and online.
Comments, questions? Moving on then.
Just one
Oh,
question.
Go ahead.
Are they in the back of the fencing area
Correct, yes.
where the ski park used to be? Is that the ones in there?
Yes,
Yep.
yep.
Correspondence to and from the department. Chief Canfield.
We received a nice thank you letter from a community member for helping her out, as well as a nice thank you letter from the Plymouth Police Chief for sending officers up there for their pirate party, which was an unsanctioned event that happens every year during their fall time. There was also a nice letter to the editor thanking Officer Sullivan for he found a wallet that was at one of the convenience stores and went out of his way to track down the owner of it and return the wallet. And I think the wallet had over $800 in it, so they were very thankful to get it back. So it was a nice thank you letter.
I think Laconia PD is pretty friendly with surrounding agencies with, sending officers to that. That's a nice thing to do.
We do. I mean, we definitely work very collaboratively with all of our law enforcement partners, especially those that are close to home.
That sounded like quite an event.
I saw some pictures from it, and it was,
Wow.
Relatively new.
Chief's report, Chief Canfield.
So before I begin, I'd like to just take a minute to reflect on the tragedy that unfolded last night in Lewiston, Maine. This was yet another horrific attack in America, and this one was way too close to home. Certainly, as our hearts and prayers go out to the victims, their families, and their loved ones, I'm also thinking about the brave and valiant men and women in law enforcement who responded to this tragedy, and now who must continue the grueling search for the killer that is in active scene as of right now. We certainly stand with our law enforcement partners in Maine, and will provide any assistance that is needed, including our SWAT team that has been in communication with authorities as of this morning. This tragedy was once again highlights the incredibly important job that our officers do and the very real dangers that they face each and every day to protect our communities. To run to the sound of gunfire with the responsibility of facing an active killer, most of the time with limited initial resources, makes this a job like any other. It takes incredible valor, bravery, commitment, and training. I'm very proud of our officers here in the city of Laconia, as well as our entire department. We truly have one of the best, if not the best, police department in New Hampshire, and that's directly attributed to the quality of our people. I'm confident that they will respond appropriately should such a tragedy occur here in Laconia, and I'd certainly like to extend best wishes and safety to all those in law enforcement who continue to seek the person that's responsible for these horrific murders, and wish them Godspeed in bringing this to a quick and safe resolution. So certainly some horrible stuff up there. Awful. On a positive note, yesterday we celebrated Red Ribbon Week in collaboration with Laconia High School. Red Ribbon Week began in 1986 after the murder of a DEA agent who was killed in the line of duty. Since then, it's become known as a anti-drug and anti-alcohol theme, specifically towards young people. So we celebrated this in collaboration with Laconia High School. They made a red ribbon out of students on the athletic field. We brought a motorcycle up there, and then the National Guard Blackhawk flew over and took aerial photos. So, speaking of law enforcement partnerships, the National Guard Counter-Drug Program has a very robust support system for law enforcement, and that's why they were involved in this, and certainly happy to support those efforts with us. Regional Accident Reconstruction Team conducted a training in Guilford at the airport on September 13th. As you know, we are very involved with this team. We account for a lot of their leadership. Sergeant Carlton led the training and put it together, and it was a really good day of training to test all of their skills. We participated in a mass casualty training drill at the Taylor Home, the St. Francis Home, and the Belknap County Nursing Home. This was a collaborative effort, involved Golden View Healthcare and Meredith as well. It was run by Lakes Region Partnership for Public Health in collaboration with New Hampshire Homeland Security. I attended a Boys and Girls Club fundraiser awareness event, as well as a hate crime seminar in Concord, which was sponsored by the Attorney General's Office. I was asked to be a panelist by the Assistant Commissioner of Safety, along with Chief Mark Newport from Portsmouth Police Department and Supervisory Agent Tim Demand from the FBI. So it was a really good, diverse group of people, and it was a really good discussion on hate crimes and anti-Semitism. So certainly we've seen that recently here in Laconia, and with what's happening overseas, I anticipate that we're going to see a big uptake in that in our area, New Hampshire, and particularly our country. I was recently appointed by the New Hampshire Chiefs of Police Association to the New Hampshire Homeland Security Grants Review Committee. So we'll be having several meetings coming up in November. The week of November 6th, we have our annual CALIA accreditation review. This process has changed a bit and now includes 4 focus areas. That includes interviews with employees connected to those areas. And this is in addition to the approximately 100 random file reviews that they do. So it just lends credibility to the whole accreditation process, and certainly when we look at other law enforcement agencies out there, the difference that national accreditation creates in a department and the standards and the way the department runs sets it aside. So we see a lot of issues with national policing, and I firm believer that if they were nationally accredited, a lot of those problems could be avoided. October is Breast Cancer and Domestic Violence Awareness Month. So as you notice, beginning of the month we wore the pink patches to honor or to recognize breast cancer, and the second half of this month we're wearing the purple patches on the left shoulder. So this was an idea that was brought forward by one of our officers, and it was embraced by the department, and certainly I think people are proud to wear those patches. I won't bore you with reading the entire packet, but the Spider Tech technology that we went to that gives automatic updates, text message updates to callers, whether the officer is delayed getting there or looking for satisfaction feedback surveys. So this quarter, we sent out a total of 5,893 messages from the period of July 1st through September 30th. And I'll let you read the rest of it, but one category I'd like to point out is the survey invites. We sent out 1,165 survey responses to victims of crime that had the opportunity to complete them, and our completion rate is 25.3%, which in the world of surveys, that number is extremely high, especially talking with the company, they don't see those, that percentage very high very often. Average quarter score for customer satisfaction was well over 4%, coming in at 4.49, 4.64, 4.43, and 4.55. That's out of a scale of 5. So to have those scores consistently high is pretty incredible. If you look at the satisfaction survey on the quarterly breakdown, 74% of the respondents were very satisfied, with another 13% were satisfied, with another 6% that were neither satisfied nor dissatisfied, and then somewhat satisfied accounted for 3%. So with very dissatisfied accounting for 4%. So 4% of our respondents were very dissatisfied with their service. So again, those numbers are very good on a survey standpoint. Overdose statistics, so far year-to-date, we've responded to a total of 37 overdoses year-to-date, with 7 suspected fatal overdoses, 6 of which would have been confirmed, with the 7th waiting on results, as it just occurred not too long ago. Year-to-date line of duty deaths are at 98 across the nation, 41 as a result of gunfire, 29 for auto-related, 18 for medical-related, and 10 for other reasons. And that concludes my report.
Anything under old business, chief?
Nothing?
New business?
Nothing?
Other business?
Nothing?
Citizen comments?
I didn't want to disappoint you. As I sat here listening, I was, based on my professional life, I want to tell you how important it is, the number of organizations and committees and whatever that our chief serves on. It's an indicator that he's above average to me. I did want to bring to your attention today that I got the usual number of questions about numbers dropping off. I think the chief has explained tangentially that, a reduction in manpower creates some of that problem, but we need to do everything we can to get those numbers back up. The other question, I've had it from several members of the council, well, several of the older members, older in terms of length of service. Apparently several years ago, a number of years ago, I've been here 6, so it's got to be more than 6 years, a councilor added a patrol person for walking Main Street days. And I'm getting complaints that it's not consistent. Again, I recognize it may well be that manning levels create some of the problem, but I would hope that the commission would do what it could, either in overtime or whatever, to try and get some of that walking patrol back. I think it would be helpful from a number of perspectives. I think seeing a police officer walking makes people feel a little more confident that their police department is paying attention. So that's my pitch to you. And I know you're aware that I've made some requests of the council to study economic issues surrounding personnel. I don't think it's going to be instantaneous, but I'm going to push very hard to see to it it's not dragged out over a year or more. One member of the council has asked that we hire a company to do a survey. I think we can do that survey in-house without having to expend a lot of money on some outside organization. And I know the chief and I have talked, and I know the wage issue is significant. And so I just wanted to assure you and ask, I suspect it's a waste of breath in the sense that you'd do anything else, but ask for your support as we move forward in talking to other counselors, if you have the opportunity or whatever, to suggest this is a critical need. This is not something, in my mind, and it's not just the PD, it's fire, it's public works. I'm told, I beyond conversationally told, that they hired a young man to drive dump trucks. They paid thousands of dollars to get him through school to get his CDL, came back and quit, took a job in the private sector because he could make a lot more money. So it's not just here. It's not something the police department or departments in the area have created for a problem. It's a problem.
The whole world.
Yeah, it is. And you know, part of the problem is, we talk about being down people. I know I've told you this before, but I'll say it again. Back in the 80s and 90s, I'd post 1 or 2 positions, have 150 applicants. Now he'd post 1 or 2 positions, he's lucky to get 5. And wages is part of that difficulty. So I just want to assure you I'm going to keep moving on that I have no intention of letting it drift, not just for you, not just for the PD, but for city employees, because it's the one thing we have, in my humble estimation, the one thing we have, and the chief sort of alluded to it a while ago, is quality employees. We need to hang on to them. We can't afford to have them go someplace else for a few dollars more an hour. We just can't afford that. So, anyways, any questions? If not, I'll sit down.
I have an item for you.
Oh, I'll come up. Stay there.
No.
You're so much older than I am. I don't want you to get
A couple days.
yeah.
Just a couple days.
You give him a paycheck?
Couple of days. I'm not going to demand any answers in front of everybody about how much older you are, but suffice it to say, gentlemen, he's an octogenarian who you started this.
I didn't know.
Okay, thank you very much.
Thank
Did
you.
I didn't mean to, did anyone else have anything? Thank you.
Appreciate your
Stop
support.
scowling.
Thank you.
There, better. See, you can smile.
I have been. Smile with you.
A confirmation of the next meeting date, November 15th. That,
Mr. Chairman, I apologize. There was one other thing on my list, and I didn't bring it up with me, so I forgot. There are, throughout city boards and commissions, concerns expressed about pro forma as it relates to going into executive session. It requires a vote to go in, as you know, requires a vote to come out, requires minutes, but it requires that the minutes be kept confidential for a reasonable period of time that you may set. I mention all this because other boards and commissions are being asked to review, and so I thought I would, before you were asked, suggest you might review 91A and be sure you're meeting all the criteria. One of the criteria I've seen in several places, planning board and other places I've been, is not mentioning the reason for going into executive session, which is required by statute. You have to pick one of the 2 or 3 or 4, whatever it is. I'm sure the chief can help you with that. So I just wanted to remind you that you should review those procedures and make sure you're following. Okay, thanks.
Confirmation of the next meeting date, November 15th.
Looks good.
Okay, good. We have a need for a public session, non-public session.
We do.
We do.
Should I read the whole thing? Okay. Make a motion, we go into non-public session according to RSA 91-A:3, section 2A, for the dismissal, promotion, or compensation of any public employee, or the disciplining of such employee, or the investigation of any charges against him or her, unless the employee affected, 1, has the right to a public meeting, and 2, requests that the meeting be open, which case the request shall be granted.
Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Motion made by Commissioner Davis, was seconded by Commissioner Mello, passed unanimously. The Laconia Police Commission entered into non-public at 3:35.
Roll call vote to enter?
Pardon me?
Roll call vote.
Roll call vote to enter. Commissioner Davis?
Yes.
Commissioner Mello?
Yes.
Commissioner Fordham, yes. Thank you, Lori.